So, hello America, hello Western Kentucky University. Today we are reviewing for exam 3. So everybody should be getting out a copy of the practice exam for exam 3, because that's what we're going to be going through kind of question by question until we run out of time. Either, whichever comes first, whether we finish, get through all the way through the exam or the practice exam, or run out of time, whichever happens, whichever comes first. Looks we got some of the best and brightest here with us, though. Those who came today, some of you missed because of storms. Fair number of people come up from Nashville and got nervous driving through the weather, and so they are not here today. So this video is for you as well. Yeah, piece of cake walk in the park, easy as falling off a log. It might almost be easier going through the roll sheet though than through my cards, because there's so many people not here. Joseph, are you looking at a quiz? You don't have you're looking at it on your phone? Beautiful. Number 1, under variable manufacturing overhead, fixed manufacturing costs are classified as. What do you think the answer to that is? Can you see? It's just question number 1 on the practice. Oh, you're still pull it up. Take a moment. I'll give you everybody a few more seconds then. Maybe you can join your new friend. Do you have it up yet? No? Signing in. See, you two are going to be friends by the end of the day. Friends are good, don't you think? Friends are good. We all need friends. So everybody, even though I might not be talking to you directly, everybody should be thinking about this themselves. You know what I mean? That's how you're going to learn the most. You're reading this question, you are thinking, that's what you're doing. And in a separate window, if you have the answers, that's one thing. But I would encourage you to have a blank one so you can think about it first and then see if you get the right answer. You know what I mean? I think that's a more effective way to do this. I mean, I understand why you might want the answers there, but yeah. So you see question number 1?
Yes.
Okay. What's it say? Let me read it again. Under variable costing, fixed manufacturing costs are classified, and classified is italicized for a reason. Classified as period cost, product cost, both A and B. Yeah. What do you think? Is that confusing? You think it's worded kind of strangely? What do you think is the right answer?
Period cost.
Which is what? Why do you think that's the right answer?
Because it would be, if it says variable costing, fixed manufacturing costs, because they're fixed, then it has to be a certain time period.
I'm not, this is a question, see, it's kind of good that you all are here. I'm not sure how clear this would have been before reviewing it. When do we recognize, and I think you all might know the answer, I hope you know the answer to this question. Ryan, when do we recognize product costs on the income statement? Because we've talked about product and period costs. Do we know that? Maybe we don't know the answer to this question. Let's make sure we do. When do we recognize product costs on the income statement? You have no idea. Do you?
I would say that it's when you can see that it's related to the production process of the product, right?
No.
I mean, it's part of maybe like you were saying, the clothes that you're using, the machinery you're using for.
And so we recognize, why did I pick on product costs? Because a cost is either a product cost or a period cost, okay, right? So that's kind of a split. Product costs, what are product costs? Everything that goes into making a product. What's a period cost? all other costs. It's that, and that's it. Product cost, period cost. When are product costs recognized on the income statement? And maybe you all should have some kind of, someplace you can take notes. Product costs are recognized on the income statement when they are sold. Right? Product costs are recognized on the income statement when they are sold. And I'm actually not sure I've taught you this. So I'm teaching it to you, which is why I'm teaching it to you now. So product costs are recognized on the income statement when they're sold. So when the shirt is sold, Columbia recognizes both the revenue from the sale of that shirt and the cost associated with that shirt, okay? So when it is sold, period costs are recognized in the period incurred, okay? Period costs are recognized in the period incurred, which means basically as they happen, they are recognized. And so fixed manufacturing costs on the variable costing income statement are recognized in a way that is similar to period costs. They are recognized in the period incurred. They are not included in inventory and recognized when sold. Okay, so I'm teaching you something. I don't know that I've taught you any of this yet to this point. Questions, comments, concerns, random thoughts? What? So the answer is period cost. Letter answer A. Letter answer A is the correct answer. But I was trying to explain why. Maybe it'd be helpful to get this on the board. Who else? Ian, what is the variable costing income statement format? I mean, you just wrote it down on the quiz, right?
Revenue minus variable cost equals contribution margin minus fixed cost equals operating.
Okay. And so on the variable costing income statement format, these all go into inventory and are recognized when sold. Variable product costs, these are recognized in the period incurred and treated as period costs. And so that is letter answer A. Does that make sense?
What did you write next to revenue minus?
Inventory, INV. INV, inventory. So far, so good? Piece of cake, walk in the park, easy as falling off a log. Then number 2. Who's next? Peyton, what is the number 2?
All revenue less cost of goods sold.
And so what formula are you using to answer that question? What formula or what?
The absorption.
Yes, sir. Absorption. What is the absorption costing income statement format?
Is revenue minus cost of goods sold equals gross margin minus selling and engineering equals operating expenses.
Okay. So question number 2 is simply a question about that income statement format. And it's which of these is most right. All revenues minus cost of goods sold equals gross margin, okay? So it's intended to be a super easy question. Welcome, Ellen. It's intended to be a super easy question, okay? Nate, number 3. Cournot, anybody speak French? Cournot. Sells 100,000 wrenches for $12 a unit, fixed cost of $300,000, and operating income is $200,000. What should be reported as variable expenses on variable costing income statement? So it tells you what income statement, which we're going to use, the absorption or the variable. I should probably get these on video though. There we are. So everybody now can see the variable costing income statement format and the absorption costing income statement format if you are watching this on YouTube. Everybody's favorite platform for seeing Dr. Fessler. You got this, don't you?
700,000.
Say what? What's a 700,000?
$700,000.
How'd you get it?
I subtracted or multiplied 100,000 times 12, 1.2 million.
100,000 times $12, and that gives you what?
That gives you 1.2 million.
1.2 million. Now you're not just reading this off the solution, are you? Huh? Good, good. Good, good. Then what? Then what?
Then you subtract variable.
Well, you can't because we don't got it, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So, exactly. Exactly.
So you do fixed cost. 300,000. I said 300,000 minus 200,000.
You just did 300,000 minus 200,000. What you want to do is take what numbers do we know?
Yeah.
Let's just fill in the, this is a puzzle, everybody. Let's just fill in the numbers we know, okay? So help me out with that then. Nate, what numbers do we know?
We know operating income is 200,000.
We know operating income is $200,000. What else do we know?
Fixed cost is 300,000.
Fixed cost is $300,000. And so what's the next number that we need to calculate here? Sarai, what number do you think is the next one that we need to calculate? We can't get there yet. We actually have to calculate contribution margin because we, and pull up the, you got the exam up, good, good. Because we can't get to variable cost yet. We got to do contribution margin first. Because what's the relationship between contribution margin, fixed costs, and operating income? So look at these three. So if you look at these, contribution margin, fixed costs, operating income, what's the relationship with them, between them, mathematically? And you can look at it just by reading what you have there. You've got contribution margin minus fixed costs equals operating income. Okay? So how can we calculate contribution margin? You add, that's exactly right. You add 200,000 plus 300,000 to arrive at 500,000. Okay? Everybody see that? 500,000. And then now we can calculate this. So we had to do this first. We had to do that first. And now we can do that. It's a puzzle. We just kind of puzzle through that which we know, from that which we know to that which we don't know. Connor, what's the answer? Huh? What's the question ask us for?
variable cost of income statement. What's your variable for? That's the expense.
Variable expenses. Have we calculated variable expenses?
No.
What's VC stand for?
Variable cost.
Yeah, so this is the number we're after. Do we have it yet? How do we get it?
700,000.
It is 700,000. How'd you get it?
I subtracted 500,000 from 1.2 million.
Yeah, so 1.2 million minus something equals $500,000. And that something is $700,000. Okay? Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Okay? And again, when you are practicing, when you are studying for the exam, practice with a blank one. I do give you an answer that you can look at that shows the calculations, but practice with a blank exam and go through it blank practice exam. I would encourage all of you to go through this practice exam at least twice before the exam, okay? Piece of cake, walk in the park, easy as falling off a log. Questions, comments, concerns, random thoughts. Ellen, number 4, East Company manufactures and sells a single product with a positive contribution margin. So they are telling, I don't know how significant it is, but they are telling us that, you know, whatever happens, contribution margin per unit is, or contribution in total is positive. So this is a positive number. I don't know why that's significant, but that is what they tell us. If the selling price and the variable expenses are both increased 5% and fixed costs do not change, what is the effect in the contribution margin per unit and the contribution margin ratio? Is that a hard one? No, yes it is, I think. Oh, well, explain to us how it's so easy, sir.
Yeah, you actually want me to?
Yes, please.
Okay. Well, it says that the selling price and the variable expense per unit both increased by 5.
Mm-hmm.
The fixed expense does not change. What is the effect on the contribution margin per unit and margin ratio?
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the equations, only one has the unit, which is the variable expense per unit. So that means that would have to increase if the selling price and that both increase. But the fixed expense does not change, so then the contribution margin ratio wouldn't change. So it would be C.
Would be C. Your logic between for contribution margin per unit is correct. What was your rationale for contribution margin ratio again?
Well, just the equations, fixed cost plus operating income equals contribution margin ratio.
There's another way to calculate the contribution margin ratio.
I don't have that one.
What is the other way to calculate the contribution margin ratio, Jackson?
The other way to calculate contribution margin.
Contribution margin ratio. Contribution margin ratio. What page is that on, everybody? 121. Page 121. That is a well-watered handy hymn book.
I got soaked when I was walking to class.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. From my the class before this.
I'm sorry. How is it? Sir, how do you calculate the contribution margin ratio? Also, contribution margin divided by revenue.
Yes.
So if we increase both of those by 5%, the relationship between them stays the same. Okay, so if we, contribution margin per unit is going to get increased because, well, I mean, honestly, the easiest way to do this is to make up numbers, right? So 5% of this, if you increase that by 5%, what's it going to be? I think 1,050, right? Is that right? Somebody with a calculator take 1,000 and multiply it times 1.05. 1,000 times 1.05, and what does that equal? 1050? And so 500 should equal 525, I think. So let's check this out. Here we've got the contribution margin per unit of $500. Here we've got a contribution margin per unit of $525. What did the contribution margin per unit do when we increased both of them by 5%? It went up. So far consistent with letter answer C. And then Carson, what's the other way we can calculate the ratio?
Contribution margin over that.
Or what's on the per unit version? What is the per unit version of that? Just right next to it on on your sheet of paper.
CMU over SPU.
Yes, what's CMU stand for?
Contribution margin
Per unit divided by selling price per unit, which is exactly the information we have on the board, right? So what is 500 divided by 1,000? That equals something. And here we've got 525 divided by 1050 equals something. What do they equal? So help me, people, with the, help me with the math, okay? Corey, can you help me with the one on the left, 500 over 1,000? And Hermes with the one on the right, 525 over 1050. 0.5. Where's your calculator at, Hermes? Home. I mean, you don't expect me to do this math, do you? Thank you.
Actually, it's the same.
It is. It is. So we have just answered this question. You notice, did you see that? I just turned this conceptual question, which was kind of hard to think about, and I just made up some numbers and did math. They said increase both of them by 5%. We did that, right? We did that. We increased both of them by 5%. I just made up numbers. I made them big with lots of zeros so the math would work out pretty even. This is bigger. So the contribution margin per unit goes up, but these are the same, right? They're the same. So it is, in fact, letter answer C. And rather than try and kind of pull you through theory, let's just make up some numbers, do some math, and then you can do it. You know what I mean? Okay? Questions, comments, concerns, random thoughts. So number 5 then, the following relates to the break-even of Pezzo corporations. Got sales dollars, total fixed expenses. If Pezzo wants to generate net operating income of $12,000, what will its sales dollars have to be? Okay? Olivia. What formula, good place to start is what formula do we want to use? Do you want to use? Say what? In dollars or units? Very good. Break even in dollars. And do you have that formula for us, Olivia? Pardon?
It's fixed cost plus operating income over contribution margin.
That looks like the perfect formula, doesn't it, for this problem? What is the other formula that we would like to get on the board, do you think, though, Sailor, for complete purposes of completeness? Break even in units. Equals what, Sailor? Don't ask me, tell me. You,
Cost plus operating income
not equals.
over divided by CMU.
What's CMU stand for? Contribution margin per unit. Do you know how to calculate the contribution margin per unit? Seems like that would be useful, doesn't it? Stella, do you know how to calculate contribution margin per unit? And so what I'm asking is how to calculate specifically CMU. How do we calculate that number, contribution margin per unit? This is a good question I'm asking, I think. I think I'm asking a good question, it seems. Veronica, how do you calculate CMU? She's like, Dr. Fessler, why do you ask me the only question that you've asked today so far that I didn't know the answer to? Like right off the bat.
The selling price per unit minus the variable cost per unit?
That's exactly right. Selling price per unit. So this is selling price per unit minus variable cost per unit is how you calculate that. And so the contribution margin ratio is calculated how, Carson, on a per unit basis? Contribution margin ratio.
CMU over SPU.
And here we've defined how to calculate CMU. So there you are. Okay? And that is, Stella thought that was picture worthy, I think.
Yeah, I just can't see it. I have to zoom in.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Glasses? No, you don't want them or you don't have them?
Both.
I understand. But seeing is useful,
I agree.
especially if you're going to drive anywhere. You know what I mean?
It's not bad though.
It's not that bad? Okay. Cars are big before they hit you? Jackson, what's wrong? Okay. So what are we doing now? I've gotten distracted, and my brain is just hot. I don't know how you all do it. This building is miserable on days like today. So we're doing which one? What do we need to do then? Olivia, do you want to get back to doing it? Or you want to give it to, pass it off to a friend who might not be a friend after you pass it off to them?
I'll just pass it off to whoever you pick.
Whoever I pick. Oh. Joseph, you ready, man? Do we have any, so which one of those two do we need to do for, which number are we looking at? 5. For number 5, Joseph, which formula are we going to use? Break even in units or break even in dollars? Yes, sir. Pick a number, any number. Tell me where it goes. Pick a number from the problem and tell me where it goes in the formula. You need glasses? My glasses on top of your glasses? Or maybe mine will be better? Because I'm old enough that I can actually read without glasses, but these I need to see far away. And so when I'm like reading your cards, in order, I either do this, because I can read them out to about here without my glasses, but with my glasses I gotta extend them farther away. Just that's how old I am. Talk to me, man. I'm just entertaining the crowd, giving you a chance to think. $12,000 for operating income? Does that look good? It sure does, doesn't it? Let's put this. People on YouTube have probably been crying at me like, Dr. Fessler, would you please fix your camera? There we are. There we are. I need another number. I need another number. Ryan, give me another number, please.
Fixed cost is 30,000.
30,000 pesos? Dollars. Sorry, I should have been fussier with Joseph too, shouldn't I have? I hope you don't feel like I'm just picking on you. And another number, please. Is not a number. Revenue. Do we need revenue? No. Is it now?
I mean, what do we do with the sales dollars? Where does that fit in there?
That's a great question.
Would that be revenue?
That is a great question. Actually, if you're, I'm looking at the notes. This is a hard question, actually. This is actually a hard question. Because what do we need here? we need contribution margin ratio. Carson, back at you. How do we calculate the contribution margin ratio? Or in total? Actually, in total. Huh? And how about in total now? Because there's two ways to calculate it on that page. There's in total and per unit. In total, please. Yeah. Okay. Everybody read the very first sentence. And I would ask Sarai, if you would please, to read it out loud for us. The very first sentence of number 5, because it's actually a very important piece of information. Number 5. Read the very first sentence next to the number 5.
The following information relates to the break-even point at Pezzo Corporation.
Did you pick up on the very important piece of information there? What's it relate to? The break-even point. Everybody see that? It's the break-even point. So that means what they are telling us, actually, is this number so the formula we actually use, I've actually got it written down wrong. We're actually going to use this formula. Break-even dollars equals fixed costs divided by the contribution margin ratio, because we are given fixed costs and we are given break-even revenue. And can we solve that? Because that's solvable.
It's not 1.2 million.
What number is it?
It's 120,000.
120,000. So what's a zero among friends? But thank you. There we are. Thank you. And let me get it on the screen. On the, let's get YouTube watchers are like, what are you doing over there? What? Show us, Dr. Fessler. Show us. Well, there I did. You see what I did there? So what you had to do is pay really close attention to the fact that it said, this is information about break-even. Information about break-even. They gave us break-even revenue, and they gave us break-even fixed costs, which are still the fixed costs now. But that allows us to solve for contribution margin ratio. And what do you have calculated? Peyton, what do you got for me? What do you got calculated?
It would be, divide 30,000.
No. Algebraically, it would become 120,000 times CMR equals 30,000. So that means CMR equals 30,000 divided by $120,000. So that means CMR equals 0.25. Okay? Does that make sense? It does, Dr. Fessler, now that you've done it. Once you showed us how to do it, well, that's what you got. You got a couple of days to keep studying. But that's what's in the notes. And so now we can drop this 0.25 in here. And then do this math. 42,000 divided by 0.25. 5 equals $168,000. Okay? Which is letter answer C. This was a hard one. What made it hard?
So sales dollars, it's a break even.
Yes, that's what the first sentence tells us.
That's
Because the first sentence says this is information related to our break-even point. Right? That's what it says. And so sales at break-even equals fixed cost divided by the contribution margin ratio. That's just the same old formula we're using. And then we can use that information to calculate the contribution margin ratio, and then we can use that number in this other. What makes this problem hard? Yeah, that you have to use two formulas. That's what makes this one hard. Neither formula in and of itself is hard. Neither formula in and of itself is hard, but what makes it hard is that you had to do two steps. It's like, just give me the information I need, Dr. Fessler, and I'll put it into the formula. Well, it's all there. You just kind of got to puzzle through it. So do approach these problems like puzzles, okay? Do approach these problems like puzzles, okay? That was number 5. Number 6. Con or variable expenses for Alpha Company are 40% of sales. What are sales at the break-even point, assuming the fixed costs total $150,000 per year? What formulas? Well, we haven't learned very many formulas. Because the question asks, what are break-even sales? I think that's a great assumption, right? If it asks for break-even, what are sales at the break-even point, then you're probably going to use the break-even in sales formula, not the break-even in units formula, okay? One piece of information is really easy here. Ellen, what's really easy here with this problem? Number 6. What's really easy? One piece of information is really easy. One is harder.
The $150,000 per year.
I'm sorry?
$150,000 per year.
And what is that number?
Fixed cost.
Fixed costs is pretty easy. They just tell us. $150,000 per year. And we need the contribution margin ratio, right? Jackson, what is it?
I honestly don't know.
You honestly don't know. You're not even lying.
Would you possibly multiply 150,000 by 0.4 to?
No. Where do you have?
Oh, you got to do.
No. Right here. It's the answer to this question is in your notes.
It would be your contribution margin over revenue, or would it be the other one?
What do you mean? No. Because we are told, let's reread the question, right? Let's reread the question. What number are we given? We're given only one other number, aren't we? And what number is that? 40%, 0.4, 40%, 0.4. What number is that? What is that number, sir?
Variable expenses.
No, it's actually not variable expenses as a dollar amount, is it? It is the variable cost ratio. It is variable expenses divided by revenue. Variable expenses divided by revenue, right?
Yeah, and so,
Variable expenses are 40% of sales. That is the variable cost ratio.
and you said the variable cost, view, it's gonna be, if you sum it with the contribution margin radius is gonna be always 1. You just said so, right?
I did say that, and that's always right.
That's a formula.
That is a formula. And so you're thinking it, so what's that give us then? What are you telling me?
So it's gonna be, the contribution margin radius is gonna be 60%.
Yes, it is. And that is what it's going to be. It is 1 minus 0.4, which is the variable cost ratio, equals 0.6 as the contribution margin ratio.
So SPU is equal to variable cost minus sales or revenue.
Pardon, ask your question again.
So the SPU is equal to the variable expenses minus the revenue. That's what that is.
This, what we got on the board is, so your question is, again, I don't think your answer, I don't think what you're saying is correct, but I'm not sure why. I'm not sure how I need to explain it to you to explain why. Yeah, yes. And you don't have it written down for some reason, but the variable cost ratio and the contribution margin ratio always add up to 1, 1.0, 100%.
The what thing? These two?
Yeah. The contribution margin ratio and the variable cost ratio always add up to, so what page are you on? Page 121, on page 121 of your notes, you've got it. The contribution margin ratio and the variable cost ratio always add up to 1. You really need to watch the video. I mean, popcorn, favorite beverage that's not non-alcoholic, because that's probably not going to help you take good notes, and get the notes. It'd be good. Okay. And then you can give my video a thumbs up, say how awesome Dr. Fessler is. Huh?
If it deserves one.
Well, if it gives you your notes, I mean, I don't care. Right? I don't care really, but it'll give you your notes. Questions, comments, concerns, random thoughts. Jackson, what do you got calculated? Jackson, what do you got? What's $150,000 divided by 0.6? You know what I mean? Hear what I'm saying? Were you? Yeah. Is that one of the answers? Hey. Whew. It's hot, man, isn't it? I'm very sorry. Like, it's hard to think. It's hard for me to think. So I can imagine it's hard for you all to think too. Which of the following strategies would reduce the break-even point? Kenzie, which of these would reduce the break-even point? And the easiest one to think about is break-even in units when you're thinking about these conceptual questions like this. Jackson, what's the answer? I mean, you're looking bored, you're waiting for somebody else to answer the question. You need to be focused, locked in.
I was thinking.
Were you?
I was.
What are you thinking about?
Well, you said to look at that formula, so I was looking at the formula and trying to figure it out.
Okay, you got the answer now?
I have a guess.
You have a guess.
Would fixed costs decrease?
Would, say again?
Fixed costs, would that decrease?
Yes, it would. Because you want the break-even point to do what? Reduce. So if you want this number to be down,
And contribution margin would increase.
yeah, you need this number down or that number up. Right? Just mathematically. And that is which letter answer? C. That's exactly right. So if you want this to be down, you either need actually either one of those would get us this. Either we make the numerator smaller, that'll make the break-even point smaller, or we increase the contribution, we increase the denominator, that will also make this smaller. And you can kind of, if you want to kind of appease yourself with that, go home, make up numbers, do the math, and you'll arrive at that right answer. Okay, that's number 7. Let's see if because we need, it looks like the test is going to beat us. We are not going to beat the test. So we're just trying to get through as many questions as possible before we run out of time today. In fact, we are only 25 minutes from being done, and we're only 7 questions in.
Putting all the hard questions first.
I think so. Each of the following would affect the break-even point except a change in what? Who's on? Nate, you're on, man. Dude! I'm going to save his card. Corey?
The actual number of units sold.
Actual number of units sold. You're not looking at the answer, are you?
Well, I already did it, and then I went through and checked them, so.
Wow, very good, very good. And that is, why is that the right answer? She said letter answer A, actual number of units sold. You don't know?
That's why I checked it.
Because what formula is it asking us about? Break even. So let's look at this one. Is there actual number of anything in here? That's why it's the right answer. It's a bit sneaky. It's a bit sneaky. Accounting majors miss this. But there's no actual number of units. This isn't actual number of units sold. It's not the actual number of units produced. This is the number of units we need to make and sell in order to break even. There's no actual information here whatsoever. So letter answer A is the correct answer. Connor, this has got to be for you, man. Number 9. Not Connor. Carson, sorry. Connor, Carson. Not Connor, but Carson. Carson, I've been trying to get you to answer these questions all day today, man. What's number 9? We'll get Connor later. You've been answering these questions all day today, man. You should have this. You should be rocking this. You know what I mean?
I should be.
You should
I
be,
agree.
but you're not.
But no, I'm not.
Man, that's bad.
It's C.
It's C. What is C?
Contribution margin divided by sales. Or is
Contribution.
that 1 minus? Oh, then it's not that.
Very good, very good. Man, I'm putting my face right in the camera. I'm afraid to see what suggested images YouTube's going to give me when I try and upload this YouTube video. It's going to be D,
Yes.
as in dog,
Correct.
or Doug, which is my brother's name.
Doug's a good name.
Doug's a good name. You got a brother, Doug?
No, I don't have a brother. I have 2 sisters.
So why do you think it's a good name?
I don't know, I like the name Doug.
First child, maybe.
Maybe. Depending on the wife.
True. Yeah, I understand. Yes, sometimes the deciding say in that regard. So the contribution is letter answer D, as in dog or Doug. Sales minus variable costs divided by sales. That's number 9. Which of the following formulas can be used to calculate break even in dollars? Hermes. Number 10. We're rocking and rolling now. I mean, I've bicycled like 37, 38 miles since I last saw you, so lungs and heart are still getting stronger, and I'm getting louder.
D,
D.
it's I mean, up there.
It is up there, isn't it?
Yeah. Is that formula down there?
Yeah, fixed cost divided by contribution margin ratio. Letter answer D. I like it. Let's look at the next one. Which one's that? 11 now, huh? Below, we got the income statement for Asturias, maker of concert quality classical guitars. 100 guitars were sold in 1993. Whoa, doggy, what is break even in dollars? Olivia. Which of these 2 formulas do you think we're going to use? Top one or bottom one?
The one that's in dollars.
The one that's in dollars, which is you gave me, I think, way back when. So now it's very appropriate that you now have the opportunity to use it. Yeah, so fill it in. This is just a matter of pick, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, pick a number, put it where it goes. Although I don't know that that's what eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, pick a number, put it where it goes.
Well, fixed expenses are 30,000, so that goes
Yes, it does. $30,000, right? Precisely correct. Because what's the question ask you for? Yeah, so class at break-even operating income is 0. That was very sickly sounding, but that is why I went through that work, and so that's very good, Olivia. So then what goes in the denominator? And is that going to be hard?
You have to do the contribution margin.
I mean, contribution. Carson, how do we calculate the contribution margin ratio, sir? Which is going to be how much? Help Olivia out here.
What?
Help Olivia out. You did it right.
She did it right.
I know she did, but I want to make sure you can do it right too.
CN minus revenue.
Not minus. What are you doing, bro?
Divided by.
Yes, so please do it.